So, in a few days is Baomer. Baomer, that great day of joy, of celebration, of holiness. Baomer is the 33rd day of the counting of the Omer, and it's a day of great mystical significance. It's the day of the passing of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. Shimon Bar Yochai was the author of the Zohar, the teacher of great Kabbalistic secrets. It's the day he passed away. It's also the day that he taught and revealed many great deep secrets that he brought to the world that were written and recorded in the Idra Rabbah, part of the Zohar. It's also the day that the students of Rabbi Akiva, the great teacher of Torah, Rabbi Akiva had 24,000 students who all died in a terrible plague. Maybe we can call it a pandemic this time of year. And the dying ended, those deaths ended on Lag Baomer, the 33rd day of the Omer. A day of great celebration, an end of a tragedy, commemorating of a great experience of Torah being revealed to the world. And what I'd like to do today is to study with you a story about Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, a pivotal story in the life of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, a pivotal story in the history of the world. And the story is recorded in Masechta Shabbos, in the Talmud tractate Shabbos, on, interestingly enough, Daf Lamed Gimel, on the 33rd page of tractate Shabbos. Lag is numerical value of 33, 33rd day of the Omer, story of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, not a coincidence. Story is, Reb Shimon Bar Yochai is sitting with two other great rabbis, Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Eloi. And the conversation goes about the Romans, who were then in dominion, ruling over the world. And Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Eloi says, look at what the Romans have done. They've built bridges and marketplaces and bathhouses. They've done these wonderful things, brought a great service to the world. Rabbi Yossi is silent. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says, they did great things, but all for themselves, all for their own benefit. They're looking out for themselves and not looking out for anybody else. There was a fourth man sitting there, Yehuda ben Gerim, and through him, word reached the Romans of this conversation. And the Romans said, Yehuda Rabbi Eloi said great things about us. He's going to be elevated to a higher position of prominence. Rabbi Yossi, who was silent, will be exiled to Tzipori. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who said negative things about us, is to be killed. Now, why each one said what they said, and what the message behind what each one said, and what the punishment that happened or the reward that happened as a result is a whole discussion. Every detail in Torah is of significance. Every detail in the story has meaning. But for today, we don't have time to go through all the commentary explaining this. So we'll just focus on a couple of points. So Reb Shimon Bar Yochai hears about this. He knows his life is in danger. He runs and he hides. Where does he hide? In the Beis Medrash, in the study hall. Now, how is a rabbi hiding in the study hall? An interesting question. Seemingly, that's the first place you look for him. Interestingly enough, in modern history, we find such a precedent. Not a precedent. We find those who followed in his way. Before 1948, when the Jews in Israel were the rebels against the British, when the British were looking for the heads of the rebellion, the heads would run away. The leaders would run away. One of them was Menachem Begin and others. And where would they hide? Some of them would hide in the Beis Medrash. They'd go in the shul, into yeshiva, and study with the others, and that's how they would hide. In any case, he goes and hides there with his son. And each day his wife would bring him a jug of water, bread, and they would eat. What's the significance of what his wife, that in fact his wife came every day? What if she brought him enough bread for the whole week, or water for the whole week? Why do I need to know that she came each day, and that he was hiding there by himself? Explains the great Kabbalist, Rav Kook explains, the first chief rabbi of Israel, that sometimes in our lives there are times of great spiritual elevation, times of great potential, and we have to connect to them. And the way to connect is we have to disconnect and disassociate from the rest of the world. Sometimes we have to disconnect from the relationships in our lives and from being out there in society and in the world and even with family, and we have to go to a place where we can go deep inside ourselves. We can meditate, we can think, we can connect to a higher realm without any disturbances. That's what has to happen. And And this was one of those opportunities. Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, it wasn't just that he was punished. It was also there was an opportunity for him to disconnect, but you have to know how to disconnect. Sometimes you have to disconnect completely, sometimes only partially. And that's the message. His wife would come every day. In other words, there was a connection to family. There was a connection to other people. It wasn't total hitbodedut. It wasn't total deep thought with disconnection to society. There was some connection. In a certain way, we're living through that right now as well. We're quarantined. We're on lockdown. We haven't been at our offices. We have not interacted with many of the people that we've been out there with in the past. Maybe whether it's at shul, at services, whether it's with our friends, whether it's at the gym, at a restaurant. We haven't been to any of these places. We've been by ourselves. It's not necessarily, the way to look at it is not as a punishment. It's an opportunity. And the opportunity is to get to know myself. And if I'm not quarantined by myself, but I'm with family, it's an opportunity to get to know them and to appreciate them. There's an opportunity here. The disconnection affords an opportunity to elevate myself and to grow. We are the Rav Shimon Bar Yochais in our lives right now. And that's the opportunity. Let's not squander that opportunity. But look what happens. Rav Shimon Bar Yochai goes into the base medrash and he hides, and then he realizes it's not good enough a hiding place. Perhaps it's not just not good enough a hiding place, but he realizes he needs to go deeper. You need to go deeper in yourself. In order to do that, you need a greater level of solitude. Where does he go? Goes with his son. They go to a cave. And there's a whole magnificent story about the cave, how they hide, and they study Torah for 12 years. 12 years they're in the cave. And miraculously, a carob tree grows, and they eat the carob. And a brook of water, a stream of water passes by the front of the cave, and that's what they drink. And that's how they survive. They come out, and they can't understand this world. They cannot understand it. They see people involved in earning a livelihood. They see people involved in mundane matters. They say, how could that be? How could that be? They spent 12 years completely disconnected to this world, just connecting to a higher realm, connecting spiritually. How could that be? How could people get involved in mundane matters? They have to go back to the cave for another year, for another 12 months. After the 12 months, they come out. And they're walking. And Rav Shimon Bar Yochai is starting to understand this world. But Rav Elazar, his son, is still struggling. Until it's Friday afternoon, right before Shabbos. It's a time called Ben HaShmoshot. Ben HaShmoshos. It's a time, it's kind of not day, not night. It's someplace right in the middle. They see an old man running, and he's holding two myrtle branches that give off this wonderful scent. And they stop him. They say, "What's this for?" He says, "For Shabbos, for honor of Shabbos." They said, "Why do you need two?" He said, "One's for Zohar, to remember Shabbos, to commemorate Shabbos, which we commemorate by lighting candles, by saying Kiddush, Havdalah. And the other one's Shomer, for guarding Shabbos, what we don't do, holding back." And they said, "Wow, look at how Jews love doing mitzvahs. Look at that." And with that, they calm down. And with that, they say, "You know what? We can come back to this world." And that's how the story ends. Says Rav Kook that there are two aspects to Shabbos: the Zohar and the Shomer. The Shomer is Shabbos is this time of intense elevation, incredible spiritual connection. We might not realize that because many times there's great potential that we don't realize. If you realize the potential and you make the most out of it, then it's awesome. You can go out of this world on Shabbos. I mentioned recently that when Shabbos was given to us, it's the way Hashem, who gave us Shabbos. He didn't just command us Shabbos, he gave us Shabbos. The way he refers to Shabbos is, he tells Moshe, he tells Moses, "Matana tova yesh li beis ganazai." I have this wonderful gift in my storage house. V'Shabbos shmo, and her name is Shabbos. Lech v'odiyam, go tell the Jews. One of the commentaries asks, what do you mean go tell them that there's a gift in the storage house? Imagine, my daughter got engaged last week. Imagine if her chassan, her groom, were to say, there's a beautiful ring for you in the jewelry store. Her thought probably would be, I don't want to know that there's a nice, beautiful ring in the jewelry store. I want it on my finger. I want it here. You're telling me that Shabbos is in the storage house of Hashem? What do I need to know about that? I need to experience Shabbos. Says the commentaries, that's exactly the point. Shabbos was never given to us. We elevate ourselves to Shabbos. We leave this world on Shabbos. We go to a higher realm. We connect to something that's beyond. That's what Shabbos is. That's Shomer. I guard the experience. I don't let things it's not a mundane day. It's not a day that you just sit around and read novels because you have nothing else to do. It's a day of connection. It's a day of studying Torah. It's a day of meaningful davening, meaningful conversations, meaningful rest. A time of bliss in a meaningful, peaceful way. Peace in the home with a sense of shalom bayis, of peace and harmony. The Zohar, the Kabbalists talk about you have to be careful not to get angry on Shabbos. The Torah says don't make a fire on Shabbos. That means don't get angry. Don't make a fire inside yourself. It's a time of bliss. It's a time of elevation. That's the Shomer of Shabbos. And then the Zohar of Shabbos is how Shabbos spills forth to the whole week. Shabbos is like a geyser that doesn't just give water for itself, it spills forth, it goes way beyond. Rav Shimon Bar Yochai understood about the Shomer. He understood about the spiritual elevation, leaving this world for 12 years. He knew all about that. What he learned in this story was he saw an old man running at a time of twilight that's neither here nor there, carrying 2 myrtle branches that gave wonderful scent. What does that mean? What that means is old people don't run. Old people hobble on a cane. But he saw this as a time where boundaries are being broken in the positive sense. He saw that the power, the force of Shabbos is coming forth to the whole week. And that expresses itself that during the week you break out of time. You break out of the realms that you know. An old man is running. Means the boundaries are not there. And what's there? A myrtle branch that gives a sense of smell. Shabbos is something subtle. It's something subtle. The sense of Shabbos, the smell of Shabbos, the wonderful fragrance of Shabbos has to come to the whole week, but you have to stop to sense it. You have to stop to smell it. A whole week you're working. You're working and whatever you're busy. You're taking care of your family. You're surviving. Whatever it is, whatever's going on in the Corona lockdown in your home. No. In the middle of a mundane Monday, you have to stop and you have to take in that smell. The fragrant aroma of Shabbos, that very subtle fragrance, that's what you have to feel. That's what you have to experience on a Monday, on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday. That's what you have to experience. In fact, the whole week is all about Shabbos. In Torah, there are no names for days of the week. There's no Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. There's the day 1 for Shabbos, day 2 towards Shabbos, day 3 towards Shabbos. The whole week is directed towards Shabbos. And Shabbos, in turn, pours forth over its boundaries into the whole week and impacts and elevates the whole week. That's the myrtle branches, is the smell of Shabbos. The old man running, there's no boundaries. There's no boundaries. Oh, what does Rav Shimon Bar Yochai see? Jews love mitzvahs. Mitzvahs to Jews aren't a way to disconnect from this world. It's a way to impact this world, to imbue this world with kedusha, with holiness. Oh, that's a world I could live in. That's a new insight for Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. That's a new understanding. That's what he gets. That's the transformation Rav Shimon Bar Yochai goes through before meeting this man and after. Before that, he understands the Shomer, the guarding of Shabbos, the elevation of Shabbos. Once he meets this man, he sees that Jews are people of Zohar, of imbuing the world with a sense of meaning and spirituality. And in a certain sense, that's us. We are in the quarantine, much like Rav Shimon Bar Yochai had to run to the cave. And what do we need to be doing in our proverbial cave? In our cave, we need to be elevating ourselves. We need to have the experience of Shomer, that experience of connection, of elevation, of meaning. But with Hashem's help, we're going to come out of our cave. I hope real soon, in the next week or two, we're coming out of the cave. And what happens when we come out of the cave? We have to see the Zohar. We have to see a world where that meaning has spilled forth to everything. We have to see the beauty in other people. Not how's this person dealing with their mundane stuff, or really that's what they're doing, that's what they're talking about. Not judgment, but seeing the Zohar in other people. It's easy at times to be a Shomer person. A Shomer person, but the Shomer person can be judging others and not understanding and not being able to relate to them. See the Zohar, see the beauty in others. That's the challenge. Hopefully the gates are coming down now and we're getting ready to go out to the world and re-engage. We have to be sure to re-engage, not only fortified with Shamar, not only fortified with that incredible growth, but being able to be a person of zohar, of seeing, of impacting and influencing others in the positive, and seeing how they do, and seeing what's right and what's good and what's holy and what's beautiful in other people. That's the day of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai that we're celebrating. The day of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, not just the deep secrets, but the zohar that he saw in the world. The day that Rabbi Akiva's students stopped dying. The Gemara says, the Talmud says, why did the students of Rabbi Akiva die? They didn't honor each other sufficiently. Maybe on some level they didn't see what's right in the other person fully. They didn't see the zohar, how things spill forth in the most beautiful way to others. Let's take this time, hopefully the last few days, the last week or two. I hope that by next Shabbos we'll be able to be together. We'll be able to daven in a minyan. I don't know. I'm not making any promises. We have to daven that everyone stays well and things go well. I hope that in the next week or two we'll be able to be davening together and doing some Torah study together. The key is, let's make the most of our Shomer experience, being quarantined, whether it's alone or with family, growing from the experience and growing in a way that we're going to come out and see a beautiful world and beautiful people and what's right and what's good with them. Have a wonderful Shabbos. I miss each of you. Please come visit us over Shabbos. Last Shabbos we sat for 6 hours outside our home with social distance. And some people came for a l'chaim, some people came to vent, some people came to get away from their kids or to find something to do with their kids, and some people came to study Torah with us. There's so much more in the story of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, so many more details Rav Kook explains. Come study with us. Let's grow together. Let's find the Shomer of Shabbos and get ready for the Zohar. Have a wonderful Shabbos. I look forward to seeing all of you soon.